If you are a real estate investor or a real estate professional, I would suggest that you sit down, belt up, and hold on, because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your socks off. Unfortunately, it's true. The market has changed dramatically in the United States from just a year ago, even less than that, maybe 6 months ago. It has taken a complete nosedive, but when you dig deeper into the numbers, you will be shocked. And I'm going to go through that today. We're going to walk through the numbers, what we expect in terms of inventory coming onto the market to be sold, and then what we're seeing in terms of numbers of sales that are happening out there right now. Just to back up in history a little bit, you go back to 2020, and you'll see that about 5 million homes were brought onto the market, listed, and about 5 million homes nationwide were sold during that period of time. 2021, we had a little bit of an uptick in both of those numbers, about 6 million. Actually, it was 6.1 million homes were sold, 6.14 million were listed. So almost 100% parity. In other words, as soon as any house came in, it sold. Now, there's some of that sales were off-market homes. They were not MLS listed. Generally, the off-market homes represent about a third of all sales across the U.S. So when you factor that in, that means about 2/3 of everything that was listed got sold, and the other third was made up by these off-market, or we call shadow inventory homes. People who want to sell themselves, sell to investors, that type of thing. And so it was really nice. We had a great market the last couple of years. I don't have the numbers for 2022 yet, but I assume they're about the same kind of thing. We have seen, however, that the number of sales has dropped dramatically in the last 6 months or so. We're down to a number of about 4.5 million sales on an annual basis. I think that number is heading closer to about 4 million. Maybe 325 to 350,000 homes sold a month in the United States. So from that standpoint, let's assume in 2023 there'll be 4 million homes sold. It could drop to 3.5 because of the high interest rates, but for purposes of this discussion, we'll assume that 4 million homes will get sold. How many are going to be available? How many are going to be on the market? It looks like right now there's about a little over 1.5 million listed homes on the market. And that inventory looks like it will turn over about 4 times this year for a total of about 6 million homes that will go through the traditional MLS listing process. So you got 6 million homes, but the projections are only 4 of them are going to get sold. Now keep in mind, some of that 4, once again, is going to be shadow inventory that's sold directly from the owner to the buyer. A lot of that's to investors or investors that use it as rental stock. But the bottom line is now we're 2 million homes upside down. Before we get into any of these numbers I'm going to tell you about coming up, rental homes in the U.S., there's about 20, depending on who you believe and whose numbers you use as reference, there's about 25 to 28 million homes in the U.S. that are owned by mom and pop investors or large corporate entities as rental homes. These are landlords that own these rental homes. That's out of about 100 million homes in the United States total. So the landlords, the investors are getting fed up, and they're running for the markets. They're running for the exits, I'm sorry. They're exiting the market very quickly. And the anticipation is that about 10% of those 28 million homes, instead of that number growing this year as it's done for the last 20 years, it's actually going down dramatically, 50% in some markets less. And so the 28 million, we think there's going to be about 10% of that go on the market this year. 10% of all rental stock. The investors will say, screw it, I'm done. I'm not going to mess around. I'm going to put my house on the market. I'm going to sell it, get rid of it. Okay. So now we add 2.8 million to the 6 million that are going through the traditional MLS list. Number 2, foreclosures coming out of the forbearance program. There's about 1.2 million that are anticipated that have come out of the forbearance program into foreclosure right now, or on the path to be in default and maybe go into foreclosure. So 1.2 more million right there. New foreclosures. These are going to be as a result of the fact that we're in a recession and that people can no longer afford, because of loss of job and other recessionary factors, they can't afford to continue to make payments. There's about 40 million of these kind of homes from which to pick, and we think there's going to be about 5% of that will go into a full forbearance, or what we call new foreclosures. Now that'll happen starting later this year, third quarter of 2023 into 2024, 2025. But That's about 5% of 40 million is 2 million homes. The shadow inventory, once again, runs about half of the amount of the regular inventory that comes onto the market. So if there is 6 million homes, we think there'll probably be about 3 million shadow inventory homes that come onto the market or that sell at any point in time. Now, keep in mind, some of those sellers, they don't even know they're a seller until like an investor contacts them and, hey, would you be interested in selling your home? Well, I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, I would be. And they negotiate those kinds of things. So that's probably about 3 million units that are going to come on from that standpoint. And then we've talked about this previously, there's about 917,000 new apartment units that are coming on the market, brand new builds that are coming on the market this year. So 0.9 of a million, 900,000. When you add all these numbers up, the 2.8 million from the investors, the 1.2 from the forbearance foreclosure, the existing inventory that will get listed through MLS, about 6 million. The new foreclosures, which that's a little bit delayed, of about 2 million. The shadow inventory of about 3 million that will be on the market, and the new apartments of 917,000. If my math is correct here, that's about 15.9 million homes that are going to be for sale in the next 12 months against a 4 million, maybe 3.5 million buyer pool. That is a big freaking problem. It's been, like I said, 6 million in, 6 million out, 5 million in, 5 million out. How about 16 million in and 4 million out? We're screwed. This is a big, big problem. Government's going to have to get involved and do that. That's a 4-year supply if my math is right. Now, even if I'm off by 5 million homes on these numbers, and these all come from other sources, and let's say there's only 10 million homes against a buyer pool of 4 million, maybe 3.5, that's still a 2.5 to 3 year supply instead of a 4-year supply. That's bad news. What's going to happen when there's a 4-year supply and, there's houses everywhere that are for sale and not enough buyers because the Fed's jacking interest rates up again and continuing this year, or at least leaving it at a high rate where people can't afford them? What's going to happen naturally, of course, is all the prices are going to drop. Everybody is going to race for the bottom. Everybody's going to put their hand up and say, I want to sell mine first. And so the best way to do that is drop the price, increase the terms, use seller financing, do different things. It is going to be a long, bloody battle of at least a year, if not 2 years on this thing. So keep your eyes and ears open. I will update these numbers as we get updated numbers, but however you cut the math, it is not looking good for either investors or real estate professionals. Okay, thank you for watching. If you get a minute, I would love to hear your comments about what you think of these videos. Feel free also to put in any topics down here in the comment section, things that you'd like to hear me discuss. Any questions you want, go ahead and put in here. We'll make sure we get a video on it when we get time. And as always, please like and subscribe. Hit that ring the bell button as well to get notified every time there is a new video. Thanks a lot, everybody.